Hi, how are you? Let's talk about relationships. What is good to think about before you even start, and what to think when you have started one. Before you start dating or trying to find somebody to have a relationship with, I think that you should consider a few things. First, I think that you should really open your mind. So look further. Don't just be among your friends, your larger social circle, your school, your town, your part of a town even maybe, if you are living in a big town. But think about all the people. There are so many people in this world, and nowadays you can meet, even if you do not use the dating services and that kind of things via internet, you can still go to places and you can meet people that you have never met or seen before. So go to different kind of festivals, go to concerts, go to whatever interests you, and be open to meeting people over there and see the people for who they are. Quite often we just go through places without seeing anyone in there. You don't remember anyone. Not a lady that sold tickets or somebody that was waiting tables or sitting next to you. But if you start to see those people, you meet very many new people that you otherwise wouldn't know nothing about. Then when you meet somebody or talk to somebody, think about, are they that kind of person that will take you further? So if you are, let's say, prone to maybe slight depression, or you are introvert, or you may be gloomy, then look for the fun types. Or if you are the fun type, then you know that having somebody that is more down to earth is good for you. And you know they balance you out. When you are going like 100 miles an hour, they will balance you out. So look for somebody that complements you and somebody that takes you further, that is pushing you further and not like weighing you down. And of course, look for somebody that has plans. And this isn't dependent on age. If you are young, if they have plans to have education, if they have plans for career, if they have plans for life in general, or if you are a little older, do they have plans on what to do when we retire and how to move forward in life in general? Because always the people who plan and are moving forward are more vibrant and are more alive, and more things happen, and you want things to happen and not to be just put down. And of course, think about, I know people hate this and this doesn't apply in every case, but look for that kind of person that is at same level with you. So if you have a high education, if you have a degree from university and you have been quite ambitious with your career, try to find people that are on the same level. And it goes to being civilized and manners and everything like that, because it's more suitable match if you do understand the same things. There are exceptions, usually the exceptions where the lady is much higher education and the man is not. They do not work very well. Men aren't very well in terms with that kind of things, that they are the second in the relationship. On the other way around, it usually works very well, but still, it's more fulfilling if you understand the same things, if you enjoy the same things. And of course, there are the basic values that you have to think about. So if you are very religious, for example, then it might be difficult to be with a person who is, yes, very religious too, but believes in a different God. I know couples that one of them is a Jewish and one of them is a Muslim, and they work out just fine, but it requires more. It requires that kind of a common ground, something that is so strong, that is common among them, that they can deal with these kind of issues. But if it's very important to you that you have a spouse that believes like approximately the same things as you do, then you have to figure it out at this point. And when you start dating, then you have to ask the questions quite quickly. And what comes to living together, building life together, it's much more easier if you either are more, you don't believe in anything, or you believe the same things. And when it comes to young persons in particular, if you have the same kind of plans with the family. I once met this woman who was over 30 already and had about 5 years ago met the guy that she wanted to have a family with. And then after 5 years, she said that she's ready to have children now. And the man was just sitting there and said, I don't want to have children. They never discussed it before, but the lady expected that they will have children and he expected that they wouldn't. And there was a dilemma. Well, they broke up instantly because it was this kind of non-negotiable question for both of them. But it would have been beneficial to think about it 5 years before, so they would have both saved 5 years of their lives, especially when the time was running out on her. But they are that kind of a basic things that you need to discuss. The sooner, the better. And I don't think that it is very much to ask if you are dating somebody even the first time. Just ask that, what do you want from your future? Do you want a career? Do you want family? Do you want to live in a city? Do you want to live on the countryside? And what are the things that you will not be negotiating but are necessary to you so that you'll be happy and you feel that you live a fulfilled life? Well, with these kind of things, you may be able to start. But what then when you have started, you have met somebody and started a relationship and decided that you are not going to meet other people for now? Then you have to be patient and see what happens. Do you get along so well? Do you actually like them? What are they actually like? Because you see these things only when you date for a long time and spend a lot of time together. And of course, there is the next level of things that you see only when you live together. So, but at this point, people get it wrong many times, especially young people. There was one day that I was sitting in the subway and this young lady came to sit with me. She's a friend of my daughter's and she was very gloomy. And I asked her what's wrong. And she said that things were really bad with her boyfriend. And I knew the young man and he's no good news for anyone. So I asked, why don't you break up with him? And she said that I don't want to because then I end up being alone, or I'm afraid that then I won't find anyone. And I was, of course, astonished. I'm looking at this 25-year-old gorgeous young lady who's on top of being beautiful on the outside is very nice and very beautiful on the inside, and said to her that you're only 25, the world is open for you, that you cannot stay in a bad relationship, probably the first relationship that you never had, just on fear that you would end up being alone otherwise. So that's so disproportionate that it's even hard to understand it. So you have to be willing to have a relationship, and you have to be willing to look a little bit closer to it. And if it's not what you thought it was, or is not what you want, then you have to be prepared to walk away. And that's the only sensible thing to do, because it's practically a good luck or bad luck who you meet and who you start relationship with, because when you start it, you know so little of them. And of course, for young people, I know this sounds very something that insults your intelligence, I know, but I'm 50 and I see this, that there is this tremendous rush to have a family, to have children, to settle down because of the biology, because you are in the age that you have the need to have children. But before you're 30, there is no extreme rush. And when you find the right one, then things will go as they will. So try to look beyond that desperate need to move forward and to be adult and to be grown up and to have this home and everything. And that's another thing that I have heard when I talk to young people, that they start very soon to make this kind of practical plans, like buying an apartment together if both of them had saved money, moving together, what town do they settle it to, for example, with studying or with their careers. And when I've heard this, I've asked many times, but do you love her or him? What's the case? So don't make practical plans. Don't buy an apartment before you even know do you love them. Or make these kind of plans that is very hard to come back to. So if you have already discussed that you will buy an apartment and then you find the suitable apartment, and then you should say that, but I'm not ready to buy an apartment with you yet. And you really should say that. So in very many cases, young people go very fast to these kind of practical arrangements, financial arrangements, before they even know that they will be together or they would want to be together. And then they end up being together because of the mortgage. And that's not a good reason. So in the beginning of the relationships, try to focus the main thing, that you have to try to find the person that you love, that is good for you, that is worthy of you. And this is the time when you have to be really selfish. You have to really try to be extremely selfish, because now you can pick and choose and change and do everything without basically hurting anyone more than you have to. If you have started to dating somebody or relationship with somebody, if they get hurt because you leave them, they will get hurt, and you can be sorry for that, but you cannot stay just not to hurt them. That's not right. You have, as far as we know, we have this one life, and now you have to be selfish, and you have to try to find that person that is meant for you, if you believe that somebody is meant for somebody, or somebody that is good for you. And for what comes to this idea, that's one thing that people stay together, especially young people, is that they are part of this social circle that has formed in some point. So if they lose this relationship, then they think that they will not be invited anymore to this gathering with only couples and that kind of things. But that's not a good reason either to stay together. And you have to realize that especially that kind of things change. Because of course there is first the groups of singles, then there are groups of singles and couples, and then you think that there are group of couples, but it will always people will go different ways, because the next phase is that some of them have children, and then they are different group, couples with children and couples with no children. And people move to different cities and go to different careers, and somebody has a one child and then career, and somebody has 10, and their lives will be very different, and they will be in very different social circles. So everything changes. If you think that you have to stay with your boyfriend or your girlfriend so you will be in this gang of couples, don't, because it will change. Nothing is permanent on that sense. So I'm 50, so I can tell you that when I was 20, I thought of something, and everything that I had when I was 20 is shattered throughout the life, through the world. Nothing is the same anymore. I'm not the same anymore. I was 30, then I had my children, and again, everything changes. Everything changed. There is nothing left that was before. So don't think that you have to make your life like that you will fit to some form, to some social circle, to some group. That's the other way around. Other people don't do that, or they may think they do, but they don't in the end. So everything will change. Next 10 years, everything will change. Even if you are now, if everybody else is living with a boyfriend or girlfriend, and you are the only one that breaks up, next 5 years, some other people will break up too. So even if they don't want to break up, somebody will fool around, and there's consequences to that. So don't think that you have to do something to fit the mold. There is no that kind of mold. So think freely and think of yourself. Be selfish. Find somebody that is perfect for you, and then you can quit being selfish and think of you too, and not just you. And then there are, of course, those things that you should think about and you should look for. So if this person that you are starting a relationship is prone to using too much alcohol, using drugs, using violence, using harsh words towards you, is not reliable. So if you make some kind of plans, they may not show up at all, or be very late, or when you are together they behave badly, they insult you. Because all these things, they may seem small when you met, but if somebody is, for example, insulting you and you have just met or dated like 2 months, then that is really bad prognosis to the future. Because if they do that now, think about what they do in 10 or 20 years. Look for narcissistic features. You can find them on Wikipedia. They are. Look for sociopathic features. Think, are they empathic when something happens? Are they empathic for you? Do they say funny things that you have never heard of and you don't understand? And I mean negative things, not positive things. So look for these markers, because usually when people start a relationship, they already see those horrendous things that they later on regret, that why didn't I do something when it was in my plain sight? And it's more than often that people look the other way and think that, okay, I have dreamed that this person is nice and good and very good for me and very funny and empathetic and has a normal functioning emotional life. So we look the other way when they prove that they are not that what we thought they were. And jealousy is one. jealousy in a small scale is okay, but jealousy with anger is not. So look for these things, because people cannot hide them very long. Most people cannot hide them very long. So they give you their bad behavior and their flaws of characters to the front quite quickly. And then you have to break it up. Because those things will only get worse when you get older. The more you are together, if you, for example, are dating and they are insulting you, or they are overly jealous of you, or when you have a mortgage and a house together, or when you have children, then they know that you cannot go anywhere. And then the group starts. So be aware of those things. And when you run into that kind of thing, then ask somebody that is your friend. If you are very young, somebody that is older than you, somebody is in their 40s and 50s, and somebody that sees the world for what it is. And tell them that he said this or she said this, that is it okay? Because they can see it without the pink lenses of I want to have a family and I want to have a relationship. So they have more clear vision of it, and they can say that no, that is not okay. That you have to do something. You have to, for example, discuss with them or just break up with them. So those were the things that came to my mind sitting here right now. What to think about when you start a relationship, and what to think about when you have started the relationship. If you have some specific questions, please comment down below. I hope you have a great day, and I see you soon. Goodbye.